What's up, guys? We're going to add one more feature to our Hangman game. This is the final part of our final draft. However, if you play Hangman online or on paper or on the board, this is actually the very first thing you'll see at the top of the screen, of the top of the page. Same thing with Wheel of Fortune. What do they start with? They start with a category. It'll say movie titles, famous phrases, car manufacturers, whatever. And this helps the player narrow it down and have something to think about instead of just saying random letters. So let's add categories to our game. I've got a file called words.py, and inside of it is a list called words, but we want to make that more specific. So the example I was using was TV shows. Yours might have something else: actors, fruit, whatever. I'm going to rename it to shows, and then I'm going to make a couple others to give us something to work with. Let's say athletes. Oh wait, regular brackets, not curly brackets. And I'm going to write a couple athletes. Let's say Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali. And of course you can do more specific categories like boxers or runners or whatever. Let's do Usain Bolt. Let's do Tom Brady. And let's do Tony Hawk. Okay, so that's a couple athletes that might be interesting to guess. Let's do one more. Let's say state capitals. Okay, and we'll enter a couple. Sacramento. Is that the capital of California? I think it is. Let's do Indianapolis. That's one I do know for sure. If I could spell it. And let's do Frankfurt. Maybe let's do one that has a space in it. It's always nice to have two words or a dot or a dash or something. Let's do a Kansas City. And let's see, is there one that has a dot? Is there one that has like a, Saint something? I don't know. Let's do one more easy one. Let's say Raleigh from North Carolina. So if we were going to import this into our main file, I'd rather not do it all separately. I'd rather have one structure that puts them all together, and then we can import that one thing. So I'm going to put these under the umbrella of something I'll call categories. Okay? And this one I am going to use the curly brackets. This one's going to be a dictionary with two things, because we need the name of the category and then the contents. The name and the contents. Whenever you have two things like that, a dictionary is a good bet. It's not the only way to do it, but it's the first thing that came to my mind. So I'm going to say television shows, and then it'll have the shows. Okay? You might as well make the thing in quotes, the name that's going to be on screen, you might as well make that a little more descriptive. Okay? Like athletes, let's say famous athletes. Why not? And state capitals is fine, but I'm going to go with a nice space in the middle instead of a ugly underscore like the variable has. So now we've got everything organized. This dictionary has the name and then a reference to this list, and then the name and then a reference to this list. And it could go all day if we added more inside of each, or we added more categories. This would work. In our main file, instead of importing words, well, there's nothing called words anymore, I'm going to import categories. Okay? You might think we need it all, and you go import star to get everything. That would work, but it's very bad practice. If you import star, then you don't know what's coming from where and if there are any conflicts with the names. We only need to import categories because categories knows where to find everything else. It has a reference to these other guys. Okay? So now I'm going to say the random word has to change. Instead of one step, it's going to be two. Okay, we pick a category, and then we pick something from inside of that. So it's not going to be a return right away. It's going to be two things. We could make a separate function, do one to get the category and one to get the word, but I'm just going to put them in the same right now. So I'm going to say category equals something and word equals something, and then we'll return both. Okay. So what are we going to do? We're going to say random.choice from categories. I don't know if that'll work. We might need one more step, because when you choose from a dictionary, it might not work the same way. We'll give it a try. And then word is going to be random.choice from the inner list that we found, like categories, and then in brackets, which one is it? Well, it's the thing we just chose. So categories, category, which looks a little repetitive, but you know what I mean. And then we're going to return category and word. I think right now we should make them upper. If you remember, we had an upper method on there, just like we do here, because first of all, I think it looks nice to have uppercase. Whenever the answer appears, it'll draw your eye. Also, it makes it consistent. So if you type lower, you type upper, doesn't matter. If the word bank had some upper, had some lower, doesn't matter. We're transferring everything to upper so that it's consistent. So I think I'll do that right here. You notice, by the way, that I cannot do that here. If I tried to get a category and then upper it, it wouldn't know what we're talking about when it tried to look that up in the dictionary, because these aren't upper anymore, right? So I just got lucky that I happened to write it here, and it's the way that would work. Now that this function returns two things, we've got to catch both of them when they come out of the end of the function. So I'm going to say category and word. Maybe we want to change the name of the function now, because it does two things. We could call it category and word or something like that. I'm going to keep it for the moment. And then finally we want to print it, because that's the whole point of this. What I said at the beginning of the video was, right at the top, catch your eye, what is this all about? First thing. So when I run this, I think we're going to get an error. Let's try. I mean, I think we're close. I think we're just one line away. Okay, so here's the problem. The random.choice function is really wonderful, and it saves us a lot of time, but it seems like the way it works is that it gets a number, and then it uses that number as an index. Like if I gave it a list of 6 things, it would pick a number from 0 to 5, and then use that to access. If I gave it a tuple or a string, same thing. And you can't do that with the dictionary, because obviously they don't have index in the same way. They use what we call keys, right? So how do we fix this? By the way, how did I know that? I don't have any special insight. I did not look up the source code for Python random module. I just saw the I in there, and it seems like the kind of thing they would do. So what we need to do is change this part. When I say categories, it's looking at the dictionary, and I want to do list. I want to turn it into a list. Okay, I think that's going to work, because if you take a dictionary and put it through the list function, it will be a list of what we call the keys, the stuff on the left, basically. And so it'll be a list of this and this and this, which is what we want. Okay, so if I run this, I think it's going to do the job. Yes, exactly what we envisioned from the beginning, right? Famous athletes, let's say E-S-R. I think I know what this one's going to be. I think it's going to be, okay, wait, I thought I hit T. Okay, so it's Tom Brady. And if you remember last time, what feature did we add? We added the solve. So I don't have to do O-M-A-D-Y separately. I can say Tom Brady all at once. Boom. Let's run it one more time to see if it gets a different category and a different thing. Yes, wonderful. I love it. I already know what this one is, because I'm familiar with the word banks that I've been using as practice, and we got it. That's exactly what we need for the categories. If you've done it a different way, that's fine. I just think this works well. We don't have any nesting of lists inside of lists or anything. And the only thing I would change is probably I would change the name of this function to be more clear that it's doing category and word at the same time. Thanks.